Hello everybody and welcome to another Bishop Disc production. We are here for a Hollywood Ladder League. It's season 1 and this was filmed in week 3. We got a pro card for you today. First we gotta say thank you to everyone who worked on the video. Paul Carlson, the drone operator, Logan and Craig on the camera. I'm Sam, I did the editing, and I'm here with my buddy Noah.
What's up everybody?
Alright, I'm super excited for this card. This is gonna be a really cool video.
And there I am there.
First, here you are.
Yep. What up, Puck Squad?
What up, Puck Squad?
It's a blast to be here. I love Borderland. It's my home course. It's been my home course for almost 10 years, so I'm excited to be out here today.
Yep, and joining us is David Fleck. He had just won the Hoot and Scoot a couple days before this, so we got him on their video. He's from Rhode Island, and he's playing for Discraft Underground team.
And I can't really tell who that is there.
Yep.
He's masked up. He's got the glasses on. Showing the Discmania love, though, in the middle. We got Dylan Capaccioli, hot superstar coming up on the scene.
Yeah, congratulations being the only, third 1,000 rated player in the state. It's a really great accomplishment.
Yeah, that's awesome. And here we have you, Sam.
Yep, I'm pretty pumped to be out here playing against everyone who's, almost 10 years younger than me. But we're gonna have a great time.
It was a pretty chilly morning this morning, too.
It was.
Honestly, this is my first time seeing these drone shots, and this looks really nice,
yes.
Seeing the course this way.
So our friend Paul Carlson is gonna start his own project on YouTube, and he's gonna do drone shots of all these holes. So we're gonna see hole 1 down here. You see the basket on the right was the white one, or you can fly down this one to the long one. Of course, you get a half stroke off for going to the long one. So.
Yeah. So here I am lining up my FD3 up that center gap on a forehand. And it was actually really cold this morning. We probably started this day at about 20 degrees, and that was my first throw of the day, and I left it a little bit left and kind of got a lucky bounce right down to the ground.
Yep, so here comes Fleck also going on the blue basket. He's throwing, I think that's a titanium force or nuke.
Yeah, he put some good steam on that, and right where it hit that tree, it kind of settled himself near the white basket. For
sure, and here comes Dylan, hitting a tree and getting down towards the white. I think we filmed 3 videos, and I think that every one, somebody has gone for blue, hit, and landed near white.
And that is actually how Hollywood came to be, right?
Exactly.
You hit a tree and you end near the shorter basket.
I needed to figure out, I did not mean to be here, but how can I make this count?
Yeah. So here I'm lining up my MD5 on a nice little forehand flex. I figured to go to blue at this point to get that half stroke off, because if I just laid up to white, that'd be a straight 3. So it was a little bit of a trickier shot, but it was worth it for that half stroke off.
For sure. Hole 1 is averaging 2.62 through the first 3 weeks, and that's 47 pros playing it for the sample size, and 77% of the pros have been going to long. So that makes sense for...
And you saw off the tee, 3 of us forehanded and you're at lefty. Right. So if you don't have a forehand shot, this is actually pretty tricky to get yourself a look at either basket, honestly.
Yeah, getting the 3 white here was a little disappointing. I think I probably would have laid up to blue if Dylan hadn't made the putt right in front of me.
Yeah, Dylan hit that nice putt and you're just like, all right, well now I kind of can't get big putted, so I'm going to try my best too.
Right, here we go. Now we're on hole 2. It's the 3rd hardest hole on the layout, averaging 2.97 strokes. With 79% of people coming to the blue basket here. It is tucked into these trees, so while you have that wide open look to the white one, it's hard to reach off the tee. So a lot of people throw a little bit short and then decide, I should definitely go for blue, and it has and has not been working out for people. So here's Dylan launching a DD3.
Oh.
Absolutely blasting it all the way to the wood line. That is so far.
That is a smash. And here we have me. I think I left this a little too high, stalled out a bit and kind of hyzered out, but still left me in the fairway with a good shot, upshot.
Yeah, you had some James Conrad rage.
Yeah.
You said, what the heck? And then here's Fleck. I think he's throwing a force, gets over on it. It's not as high as he liked, but it was hard ground and it just absolutely scoots.
Wow, he got some major ground play there.
I think
almost scooted into the wood section.
Yeah, he would have been pin high if it hadn't hit the... hadn't hit the tree. So
that was a great shot. And here you are throwing a roller here.
Right.
Trying to keep up with the young guns.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is my river, just rolling it down. If I can get about to where the other normal position is, that's about 430
Yeah, that's a good
feet.
shot right there.
Easy up and down for the 3 blue.
Here I'm trying to get my forehand to kind of get into that gap, and you can see I just caught some of that shrubs at the start of the gap, so left me about probably a 30-footer, a little bit obstructed for my 3 on the long basket.
Yeah, when you're on this one, you really want to approach it high to make sure you get over that shrubbery. Dylan had a look for his 2 blue, which would be insane, and now Fleck has this one.
Left it right off the front.
The tailwind just shoves it down.
And here we have for me for a 3, technically a 2.5.
Right.
And just off the front. So that's a 4, but it's going to be a 3.5 because I'm going to the long basket.
Right. The 4 blue is a pretty common score, but like, who's really gonna lay up for the 3 white? Like,
I know.
it's just like you got to execute the shot.
It was just unfortunate. My second shot was left a little low. It wasn't really on the putt there. Could have done a better job putting myself closer.
All right, so through 2 holes, Dylan's got a little bit of a lead as we come into hole 3. Now this is a super tricky hole. It's averaging 2.81, and only 9% of people are going to blue basket.
I was going to say, out of every hole on the course, this hole might be the one with the most distance between the 2 baskets.
For sure.
And they're kind of in opposite directions where you really have to decide if you want to go to that long basket.
Yep. So with 9 out of 10 players going to white, I think we're going to see Dylan throw a tactic on a forehand.
Yep.
Doesn't quite hyzer enough, but he's up on the hill. He's
Yeah,
got
he
a
hit the
circle
first
2
gap,
look.
yeah.
He got a circle 2 look. Fleck looks like he just kind of fluffed it going that gap. It ends up working out pretty nice.
Yeah, I got sneaky through there.
And that's a spot where you have maybe an open 40-footer, or you can pitch over to blue maybe.
Yeah. And you decided to go to the long basket here.
Yeah, I don't like this basket on
the
the
old
white.
position.
I just
know,
don't.
it's so tricky.
Not only do I have a trouble getting a 2, but it's easy to get a 4.
Yeah.
And the 4 white here would just be absolutely killer.
Yeah. So I kind of go for kind of more of a slow, stally shot with something a little more overstable. And yeah, it looks like it kind of checked right up there into the circle line.
Yeah, absolutely parked. So now Dylan's got this uphill 40, 45-footer. Just
Really
cash.
tough footing, too. I remember he was actually sitting there for probably 20 to 30 seconds, like getting his footing right before he actually putt that, and that was a great putt.
And Fleck a little over the top.
And here we have me for my 2.
Nice.
Yep, that's a good 2 to bounce back from that 4 blue I took on the last hole.
Yeah, 2 white is a great score on this. I don't think there's been a 2 blue yet, so. Now after everybody taps out here on white, I'm playing by myself. As,
yeah, you're all by yourself.
As lefties do. I'm going to throw my soft harp and actually get a little bit of roll off the rock. Luckily, you can see it on the bottom right. It rolls to only about 15, 20.
Yeah. But even this putt can be a little daunting early in the round.
Right, especially when you got a camera like 2 inches
Yeah,
off the
right
basket.
off the back of the cage.
No, we're easy.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good 2.5.
All right, so here we go. We're hole 4. Hole 4 is the 3rd easiest hole, averaging 2.57. And as you can see, the drone fly, the short basket's gonna be tucked up on the right. You can see it right there. Or you can come down to the left for the blue basket. So 85% of people have been choosing to go to blue basket. Get that half stroke, and it's easier to access.
Yeah, the white basket, the shorter one technically, is really tucked into that back edge of the wood line. It's really hard to get in there. Dylan throws an absolute great shot right here. He kind of pulls it a little to the right, but he still hit his line.
I don't know. I think he was trying to throw hyzer to blue and kind of shanked it over.
Here I decided to go for the blue basket right off the gate because I know that white basket's tough to get to, so I figured if I can get to the blue basket in 2, that'd be a nice 1.5 to take.
Right, for sure. It's only, what, like maybe 20 feet further, and there's less trees in the way.
Yeah,
so
the line's
like,
more open, yeah.
So I'm also going for blue, but my most understable fairway doesn't even turn in the cold wind and ends up, inside circle 1.
Yeah,
so
right at the circle's edge.
And here's Fleck. He's throwing a mantis.
And you can tell he didn't really get over on that as much as he wanted to.
Yep.
Kind of hyzered out of his hand.
Yep. But great spot to get up and down for the 3 blue. 2.5 on this is pretty common score.
Yep.
And it's still beating the whole average at 2.57. So there's no shame in the 3 blue here, but definitely one of your best opportunities for the 2 blue.
Yeah. It's pretty much just a stock hyzer off the tee. You just got to hit your line with a nice disc that you feel confident with.
Right, something you can push straight that just doesn't hyzer a lot, but just finishes soft late. Here's Dylan from just outside.
And he's just on fire right now.
Yeah, starting.
I mean, we're through 4 holes, and 3 of the holes he had banger putts from the circle's edge.
Right, I think if you, through the first 4 holes, if you're under 10 or under, I'd say is a pretty solid score.
Yeah.
People ask me what is par, and I would say, if you're getting a 3 to the long basket every hole, that'd make it a par 2.5 for.
Yeah.
So, I'm at 10, but Dylan's already a stroke and a half better than that. That's
I know.
Fire.
It's crazy.
And here's Fleck, also about to tap in. So you guys are tied at 10.5. That's a solid start.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It was tough taking that 3.5 for me on hole 2, but
for sure,
it's a little up and down start for me.
All right, here we go. We got OB Road. And I am loving this short pin because I just do not care for this long way. It's
I know, the
just
long
at the edge of my range.
Yeah, me too.
And then there's just a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
It's like...
And you have the parking lot, the OB parking lot behind. It is really tricky.
So
I think most people will probably elect to try to go for the shorter one off the tee, and then if you have a little sneaky distance and you get through the gap, maybe you can go for the putt.
So Dylan's throwing it high, which is an interesting play because we are, of course, playing 2-meter rules. This isn't.
And the ceiling's pretty low off the tee. There's a branch that kind of sticks in from the right side, and it comes into play definitely.
If you want to throw it to the, if you want to throw it to the long basket, you got to keep it low. That's where the most space is to kind of scoot through the trees.
And honestly, I hadn't played with you in a little while before this round, and I saw you lining up this forehand, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't, skip OB or get some ground play. But when I saw the angle that you put this disc on out of your hand, I knew that it was never going to have any chance of getting close to OB.
That is the play. It's just,
yeah.
If it flips over and ends up 100 feet to the right, like it's better.
And what disc was that?
It's a VIP Giant. It's an old one that I've just found in my car. I have 2 drivers in my bag, 2 distance drivers. One's a very overstable, and that's the one I flick. And then I have one pretty straight one for backhand. That's the only 2 distance drivers I'll bag.
Yeah. And I just kind of landed, probably equal distance between both baskets, maybe a little further from the blue, but it's going to put me in a position where I need to make a decision on what I want to do.
For sure. Well, if it's 50-50, the decision's pretty made. Then you go to blue. It's the part where you're like,
am I feeling my putt? Do I really think I can hit it?
If you're 40 from white and 60 from blue, then you might be deciding. Or if you're 35 and 60, then it gets weird.
Yeah.
Dylan just off the chains.
Yep, just a little short. And I decided to go to blue here because it was still early in the round. I really hadn't hit any great putts to give me confidence hitting a putt on that short pin. So might as well give this a little bit of a run and just get my 2.5.
Yep. For the chance that you're going to make it, that half stroke is just...
Yeah, the half stroke really makes a big difference.
For sure.
And at the end of the round, when you look at your score and you realize, wow, maybe if I just decided to go to blue 2 more times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dylan was looking at it, but he made the smart play and just took his 3. Because you definitely don't want to just let the strokes pile up as you try to go.
Because sometimes a 3 on the white basket feels like a bogey or like a half bogey.
It feels like a half bogey.
Yeah.
It really is. All right, now we're on hole 5. Hole 5 is actually the 5th hardest hole, or the 6th hardest hole.
This alt pin is just in a tricky spot.
There's no real great lane to get to it. As you see the dragonfly, this like right-handed, like hyzer flip straight line that finishes late early or comes over here to the left. It's averaging 2.9 and almost 75%, 74% are going to blue. So really hard to park. Not a lot of 2 whites on the hole.
Really tough. And it seems like a lot of people are just going to kind of put themselves out there and then figure out where they want to go from there.
Get around the corner is step 1, and Fleck misses the gap.
Yeah, he kind of left it a little early there.
Yeah, kind of a similar miss to what he had on 4.
Yeah.
Now you're throwing DD3 here?
Yeah, I'm throwing one of the new Cloudbreaker 3s, and I had a pretty good rip on it. It did kind of come close to those trees there, but in my head, I told myself I'm going to blue. I didn't really feel that shot to white. Here, Dylan's taking a really aggressive line to blue, I think, on a turnover forehand line, which is just a really high caliber line to take.
Something like that. And Fleck is going to try to go forehand to blue. Tough angle.
Yeah.
Now, I was actually going to lay up to white, but Fleck talked me into trying a blue one. So here we go, through this little gap in front, and then this
through
big,
a tiny little gap.
long turning. This is my deputy. I love that disc.
Oh, and I remember we all were upset that it kicked off that tree because it was such a good shot.
I didn't realize that it got over the creek. I thought I was still on the other side, so I was still pretty happy. And Fleck doinks it right into the tree, but gets a beautiful spinning kick.
Yeah, we were all laughing about that.
Yeah, for sure. Dylan with an easy little pitch up.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much how you want to play the hole. You throw a little hyzer around, and then you just pitch up.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike Brook, who has two blues on this hole, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of the hardest holes to get a 2 on. It is just such a tricky line. It's so far to the left, and there's so many trees in the way.
All right.
And that was a wonderful putt.
Yeah, I was pumped.
Awesome 3 save there.
Yeah, I was not in a great spot.
Because like you said, when we all saw you hit that tree, we thought you kicked over the stream again. But when you walked up and you were on the right side of the stream, you were like, all right, I'm hitting this putt.
For sure.
I don't know what we were doing there, just having some fun.
Goofing on Dylan's putt. He always does that little
clincher.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're hole 6. This is another one where you kind of got to make a big decision off the tee pad. You can either kind of go straight down the line or to blue, or if you somehow want to make this like sharp hyzer turn down all the way to the left for white. So
yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, the baskets are pretty far apart, so you really do have to decide which line you want to take. And like you said, that short basket, there's a ton of rocks there, and if you are going for any sort of ground play, you're almost just going to hit the ground and sit.
Yep, 83% of people have gone to the long one. So
Yeah.
I'm taking that same river I threw on 4, throwing in a little hyzer flip and just getting the best little kick out
Yeah,
you could
good
ask
kick,
for.
but that was also just a really clean shot right up the middle.
Yeah, this hole is right in the middle, averaging 2.8. So I think most people are just shooting it up.
Yeah. And I also hit the gap, but didn't really get over on it as much as I would have liked. Probably sitting right in the middle of circle 2.
For sure. Here's Dylan. I think he threw something pretty slow.
It
like
looked
a
like one of those
method.
new Iron Samurais. That
Okay.
I couldn't really tell, but yeah, it's definitely either a method or the Samurai.
And here's Fleck going that same kind of early release. And
Yeah, a
gets
couple
this-
times now.
Gets that terrible gliding kick right into the woods.
Right.
So Dylan has, I wouldn't say an easy upshot to white, but he's going to go for the much tougher one to blue.
Yeah.
And it
huge
looks pretty
forehand
good
flat shot.
through here, but just clutches that
Oh,
last tree.
Right.
You still got to look in circle 2, but, you know, definitely risking it.
And Fleck's going up and over everything. When you're in these woods on the right, there's really no lines, and
Yep.
that up and over is pretty much your only shot.
Yep. It's not where you want to be.
I had a long look here, left it a little short, but once again, we're going to blue, so still a 2.5.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with a 3 blue.
No.
Here's Dylan to save his 3 blue. And
Oh,
just off the front
Yeah,
rim.
right off the front cage.
And Fleck,
Fleck also to save his
he likes
3
that little
blue.
jumper.
Oh, also off the front cage.
All right, so now I've got an opportunity to pick
Yeah.
up 1 on you and 2 on
2
Fleck.
on each of them.
Cash it.
Nice. That's a great putt.
All right, it's gonna give me it's gonna vault me into the lead. I was a half stroke back, and now I've got a stroke and a half
Yep.
lead on Dylan.
Dylan and Fleck taking 3.5s there. Not ideal, but they both put themselves in a little bit of trouble off the tee.
Yep, here we go. Now we're on hole 7. This is tied for the 4th most difficult hole. Really hard to get a 2 to either one. So
Yeah, this new alt pin is tucked in the right behind that farm equipment, and like it shows on the screen, 420 feet, and it finishes to the right, so a lot of players are going to have a tough time getting themselves into the circle.
yep, after that great roller on 2, I'm gonna go back to it and throw not a good one.
Just left it a little to the left into those shrubs.
I was, I was getting too aggressive.
Yeah.
After that 2 blue on the last hole, I was feeling myself.
And what basket were you planning on going with that? Or were you
To
just
blue.
yeah, to
It's
blue.
to blue,
Yeah.
but really I should just be throwing a fairway to the other side of the trees. It's
Right.
like all you need.
So I decided to go to the blue basket here as well because I do have a good forehand distance, but it's really tough to get to
Right.
that forehand to that pin position. So
For sure.
figured just try to get myself up there for maybe a long look at a 1.5.
Yeah, once you're past the garden, you're definitely looking for it.
Yeah,
Dylan hanging out a big shot with I assume a DD3.
yeah. He's also been throwing a regular DD a lot, so it could have been a DD too.
Right. Anytime you spin the camera, though, you know you have a pretty solid shot.
Yeah, and he bombed that.
And Fleck is just going to murder this thing straight, and he's waiting for it to hook up, and it just doesn't.
Never does.
And skips over the path into the stuff.
And Fleck seems to have a really low penetrating drive. On a
sure.
lot of these shots, he's kept his shot really low, and it seems to just go right through the air, slice through everything.
Now, I still thought I had a good play to blue, and the wind absolutely smacked my harp down.
Yeah.
I lean on my harp quite often, and when it just doesn't go where I want, I feel betrayed, honestly. Here's Dylan. He's got to watch out for the low
yep,
hanger.
the low ceiling.
Yep,
That is a really tricky putt. You got to be fully committed.
right. And I think when you're on your knees, you're going to take your lower body out of it, and you got
Yeah.
it all arm.
Yeah.
It just makes it much tougher. Now you got what, like a 50-footer?
Yeah, probably about 50 feet for my 2 blue, and just kind of sallied it.
Yep.
Left it
It's
a little
all right.
left.
Now this one is 87% people go to the blue basket, which is the highest percentage on the course. So
Yeah. Dylan leaving it a little short. Also Fleck there leaving it a little short. And
Yeah.
both of them taking back-to-back 4 blues.
yeah, I think that's 3 in a row for Fleck. He's
Yeah.
he's on a little tough streak.
Yeah. But this is what can happen sometimes, There's a lot more mental strategy in a round like this than a traditional round of golf.
For sure.
You're always thinking about what basket to go to. In a traditional round, you're just trying to keep yourself cool, not trying to get upset about bogeys. But here, there's so much thinking and strategy to it.
Right, and it's easy to be like, oh, I made a mistake on one hole. I definitely need to get a better
next
shot
one.
on the next.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it just snowballs out of control.
Yeah.
So we're here on hole 8, averaging 2.89 with 55% of people going to blue. That puts it sort of on the hard side. It looks like about the 8th hardest hole.
And I almost hit the gap perfectly, but hit the tree just over the wall, kicked backwards, OB over the wall.
Right.
So that was tricky, but I did establish inbounds.
Right. Normally you'd have to re-tee if you do not make it at
Yep.
any point, but since you made it onto the island for, about 1 millisecond, you get to move up to that spot.
Yep.
And I'm throwing my new favorite mid-range, the Royal Grand Trust. I just love that disc, and it's so perfect for this
That was
hole.
a great shot.
And Dylan, going back to that disc he threw on 4, looks like a nice drive, but it's kind of turning and not hooking up as it's going downhill, and it's past the white. I think a little too far to go for the putt, but not quite pin high to blue.
Yeah, kind of in that middle zone.
Yep, here comes Fleck with that early left release again.
But looks like he threw something understable enough, but I think he got a tough kick into the OB there.
He was lucky not to be OB right off the tee, and then he not so lucky to be OB down by the cutout.
So this was a really hard decision for me. I'm throwing 3 right now from the edge of the rock wall, and I just laid up to the white, and I really took my medicine with a white to white 4 right there, a straight 4.
Yeah, it's tough.
There's another patch of OB down near the blue basket. If I went that way and happened to get OB or missed, I just figured...
Right. Don't get a 6 blue.
Yeah, it was just a really tough decision, but I lived with it and moved on.
Yep. And here's Dylan tapping out his 3 blue.
Yep.
All right, so through the front 9, I got a little bit of a lead, 21.5 over Dylan's
putting together a good round
23.5.
there.
Noah 24.5 and Fleck 26.5.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. We're all kind of finding a little bit of a groove now, maybe settling in after having a little bit of camera jitters, but it's been a really fun time.
All right, come on back for the back 9. We'll see you there.
Yep, see you in the back 9.